Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Teena Jha. Across the world, political parties need access to money in order to reach out to the electorate, explain their policies and receive inputs from people. And in order to raise their wealth, parties resort to political party funding. One of the primary sources of this funding is the voluntary contributions made by individuals. Besides this, corporates pay hefty donations to parties in different forms. And foreign aid is another source. In financial year 2017-18, the ruling BJP got an income of over 1,000 crore rupees. It spent 750 crore rupees during the period. The figures were made available by election watchdog Association of Democratic Reforms. Today in Depth, we study the total income and expenditure of national parties for the financial year 2017-18. We also look at the electoral reforms in recent years, recommendations to make political funding more transparent, and how parties across the world generate funds. Well, the Association of Democratic Reforms analyzed the income and expenditure of national political parties based on their IT returns submitted to the Election Commission of India. It studied details of 6 parties: the BJP, BSP, NCP, CPI, CPIM and the TMC. The Association of Democratic Reforms analysed the total income and expenditure of 6 of India's 7 national parties during 2017-18 as declared by the parties in their IT returns submitted to the Election Commission of India. As per the report, the BJP has declared a total income of 1,027.34 crore rupees during 2017-18 and spent 74% of it, amounting to 758.47 crore rupees. The ruling party's income came down by nearly 7 crore rupees as compared to 1,034.27 crore rupees total income it had declared in 2016-17. The Communist Party of India Marxist follows in the second place with an income of 104.85 crore rupees and an expenditure of 83.48 crore rupees. Mayawati's Bahujan Samaj Party declared a total income of 51.7 crore rupees during the year 2017-18, of which the party spent only 29%, that is 14.78 crore rupees. The Sharad Pawar-led NCP was the only party to have spent more than its total income of 8.15 crore rupees. The party spent 8.84 crore rupees. Trinamool Congress declared a total income of 5.167 crore rupees and spent 1.76 crore rupees, while the Communist Party of India's total income was 1.55 crore rupees during 2017-18, it spent 1.10 crore rupees. The income and expenditure of the Congress Party is not known as the party is yet to submit its audited reports to the Election Commission. In 2016-17, the main opposition party had earned 225.36 crore rupees. The 6 parties, which include the BJP, BSP, NCP, CPI, CPIM and the TMC, collected 1,041.80 crore rupees of their total income from voluntary contributions during the financial year 2017-18.
National parties are required to submit a copy of their audited reports to the Election Commission before the due date for filing it with the IT department. So what we have done is we have analyzed the income, the expenditure of the 6 national parties whose details are available in the public domain. So out of the 7 parties, Congress has not yet submitted its report with the Election Commission of India yet. And the remaining 6 parties, though they have submitted, not everybody has submitted before the due date for filing, which was 30th October 2018.
Of the 6 national parties mentioned in the ADR report, only BJP declared receiving an income of 210 crore rupees from contribution through electoral bonds. The electoral bonds can be encashed by an eligible political party only through a bank account. Only the political parties registered under Section 29A of the Representation of the People Act 1951 and which secured not less than 1% of the votes polled in the last general election to the House of People or the Legislative Assembly of the state are eligible to receive electoral bonds.
did analyze the income and expenditure report of the national parties for financial year 16-17 with that of the current report of 17-18. So we see that almost all the parties' income has reduced, most of it, except for BSPs whose income increased from 51 crores to 173 crores. So, BSPs decreased by about 235%, my apologies. And BJP's... Yeah, so BJP's income decreased by about 7.67%, so by about 7 crores. So last year they had declared an income of 1,034 crores, whereas this year they have declared an income of 1,027 crores. So majority of all the parties' income you see has decreased compared to previous year's income.
Besides, the BJP alone received 167.80 crore rupees or 86.59% of the total donations received by all political parties in 2017-18 from electoral trusts, which are non-profit companies formed for political funding. While 4 other parties, the Congress, Biju Janata Dal, NCP and Jammu and Kashmir National Conference received 25.98 crore rupees collectively in the same period from electoral trusts. Currently, there are 22 registered electoral trusts formed by various industrial houses and companies. According to the Election Commission guidelines, all electoral trusts formed after January 2013 are required to declare details of the money they receive and how it is disbursed. The central government rules mandate these firms to donate 95% of their total income to registered political parties in a financial year. With inputs from Anu Diwan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The government has taken several steps to make political funding transparent. Electoral bonds is one of them to cleanse the political system. Recently, the Election Commission also made some recommendations to the Law Ministry regarding political funding.
The NDA dispensation brought about major changes in the way political parties are funded. With an aim to cleanse the political system and bring about transparency, it introduced electoral bonds. Announced in the 2017 budget, electoral bonds account for donations made to all major political parties. An electoral bond is a bearer instrument like a promissory note. It can be purchased by any Indian citizen or a body incorporated in India with a KYC compliant account. These bonds are available at specified branches of the State Bank of India. Donors can donate the bonds to their party of choice that can then be cashed through the party's verified account within 15 days. The electoral bonds don't bear the name of the donor. The sale of first batch of electoral bonds took place between March 1st and March 10th, 2018.
अगर इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड चलन में आ जाए तो उससे होगा ये कि एक नागरिक भी इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड खरीदेगा, जिस पार्टी को वो समर्थन देना चाहता है उसको वो पैसा ट्रांसफर करेगा, तो धीरे धीरे ट्रांसपेरेंसी आ सकती है.
Electoral bonds worth 222 crore rupees were issued in the first tranche itself. As per the ADR, the BJP received 210 crore rupees from contributions through electoral bonds in 2017-18. The government also removed the cap on corporate contributions to political parties with the 2017 Finance Act. The Act lifted the 7.5% limit of net profit of a company's past 3 financial years to make donations to political parties. It also removed the obligation to report such contributions in the company's profit and loss account. As per the 2017 report of the ADR, the BJP received the maximum donations of 705.81 crore rupees from 2,987 corporate donors. The Congress received a total contribution of 198.16 crore rupees. In the Financial Bill 2017, the government also amended provisions of the Income Tax Act to cap individual cash donation at 2,000 rupees from the earlier 20,000. The Election Commission had been pushing for the 2,000 rupee cap for a long time. In March this year, the government passed a key amendment to the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010, allowing foreign companies to fund political parties in India. Meanwhile, the Election Commission is working to limit the spending of political parties on election campaigns. In a draft reform that was sent to the Law Ministry ahead of the 5 state elections, the poll panel recommended a party's expenditure limit should be 50% or less of the combined maximum spend prescribed for all its candidates. Individual spending to be capped based on whether it's an assembly or a general election. Anonymous donations to be limited to 20% of a party's total collections. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Political parties and competitive election campaigns require significant resources. Ideally, these resources should be raised and spent transparently. India has numerous regulations aimed at cleaning up political funding. In our next report, we look at some of the methods that Indian political parties use to raise funds.
Every political party needs to pitch itself, its objectives and intended actions to get votes for itself. And that means advertising itself. Raising funds is aimed at financing advertisement costs and other miscellaneous expenses incurred by the party to promote itself. Among the various methods of getting a political party funded, the most commonly seen are by individual persons, public funding, and corporate funding. A political party may acquire funds by donations from people or companies and so on. State funding or public funding is where the government provides funds to parties for election-related purposes. This allows a party to gather funds without approaching companies or people, as it often leads to such contributions having influence over the political parties they fund. Also, state funding helps save the high amount wasted in election campaigns and provides fair opportunities to political parties. State funding is of 2 types. Direct funding, that gives direct funds to political parties. Indirect funding includes other methods except direct funding, like free access to media, free access to public places for rallies, free or subsidized transport facilities, and so on. Direct funding by tax is prohibited in India. However, indirect funding is allowed in a regulated manner. Another method is corporate funding. In India, donations by corporate bodies is governed by the Companies Act 2013. Section 182 of the Act provides that a company needs to be at least 3 years old to be able to donate to a political party. Companies can donate up to 7.5% of average net profits they made during 3 simultaneous preceding financial years. Such contributions must be disclosed in the company's profit and loss accounts. Approval of the board of directors needs to be obtained by passing a resolution. If a company violates provisions of this election, it may have to pay a fine of up to 5 times the amount contributed. Punishment can go up to 6 months. One of the biggest problems in corporate funding is the use of fake companies to route black money. Statutory provisions exist to allow the political parties to accept funds or restrict donations. Section 29B of the Representatives of the People's Act entitles parties to accept voluntary contributions by any person or a company except government company. Section 29C of the Representatives of the People's Act mandates for political parties to declare donation if it exceeds 20,000 rupees. Such declaration is made by making a report and submitting it to the Election Commission. Failing to submit the report on time disentitles party from relief under the Income Tax Act 1961. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for a short break on the program. We'll be right back.
Watch The Big Picture with me, Frank Rausen Pereira, at 9:30 p.m.
विदेश जाने वाले भारतीय श्रमिकों के लिए जरूरी सलाह।
परदेश में नौकरी पाने के लिए केवल विदेश मंत्रालय के साथ पंजीकृत भर्ती एजेंटों के माध्यम से ही जाएं।
फर्जी एजेंटों के जरिए न जाएं, वरना आप फंस सकते हैं।
जाते समय किसी भी व्यक्ति द्वारा दिया गया कोई भी पैकेट लेकर ना जाएं, आप फंस सकते हैं।
जिस काम के लिए जा रहे हैं उसका थोड़ा प्रशिक्षण अवश्य लेकर जाएं।
परदेश में नौकरी पाओ तो सुरक्षित जाओ, प्रशिक्षित जाओ।
विदेश पहुंचते ही भारतीय दूतावास से संपर्क करें। परदेश में आपका दोस्त भारतीय दूतावास।
विदेश मंत्रालय द्वारा जनहित में जारी।
The Nehru Trophy boat race of Kerala, popularly called Vallam Kali in local parlance. This historic boat race dates back to 1952 when Pandit Nehru visited the state and a pageantry of boats accompanied him from Kottayam to Alappuzha. The race, conducted on the second Saturday of August every year, is a major tourist attraction. It's generally the snake boats which participate in the race, and hence the shape of the winner's trophy is also a replica of a snake boat.
Rajya Sabha TV's YouTube channel has just crossed a new exciting milestone. It now has over 1 million subscribers. That's more than 10 lakh people who like and want to watch RSTV. Over 15 crore people have watched our videos. Our online viewers are also engaging with us more actively on YouTube. More and more people like, share and comment on our videos. We thank you, our growing tribe of RSTV viewers. We will strive every day to bring you more exciting and engaging content. So stay tuned to Rajya Sabha TV.
What are the contours of the new education policy? By when are we to see this?
New education policy is ready, is based on accessibility, accountability, equity, quality.
When it comes to the digital infrastructure, what's the kind of progress which we really have made?
In the remote areas, digital penetration is more. 15 lakh classrooms will have digital board.
Holiday homework should also be abolished, because at the end of the day, parents end up doing everything.
My own granddaughter, who had done on her own the project work, she was not given the A grade only because it was not done by parents. That is the wrong system, particularly by the private schools, and holiday projects can be minimal, not maximum.
Watch to the point with the Union HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar only on Rajya Sabha television.
देखिए पहली खबर मेरे साथ शाम 7 बजे।
Bhool Bhulaiya, a labyrinth of hundreds of narrow stairway passages, is a significant and historical component of what you popularly know as Bara Imambara. Some of these narrow stairways have dead ends, some end at precipitous drops, while others lead to entrance or exit points. Historically, Bhool Bhulaiya was constructed to confuse the enemy intruder, and the narrow lanes of the labyrinth can make anyone feel lost. The structure contains various strategically built hollows in the corridors.
Welcome back. You're watching In Depth on political funding. What makes political donations legitimate depends on the laws of that country. Different countries have different restrictions on political funding. For example, in the United States and the United Kingdom, corporation donations are not permissible, while in countries like Australia and Malaysia, they are accepted.
Donald John Trump do solemnly swear.
All political parties need funding to play their part in the political process. However, the source of funds for political parties varies around the world based on culture, precedent and legal standards. In many countries, political parties are at least partially funded from the national budget in the form of various types of allowances. In the United States, political funding at the federal level is governed by a law enacted by Congress and enforced by the Federal Election Commission, an independent federal agency. Although most campaign spending is privately financed, public financing is available for qualifying candidates for the presidency of the US. It is considered unlawful to accept donations from foreign interests. Furthermore, corporate donations are considered illegal unless political action committees are formed. In United Kingdom, political funding has been a source of controversy for years. There are three main ways a political party is funded: membership fees, party donations and state funding, though the latter is reserved for administrative costs. Declarations must be made for donations above £5,000 for national parties and £1,000 or more for local associations. Although anonymous donations are allowed, any amount more than £50 is prohibited. In Great Britain, these donations and loans are reported on the Electoral Commission's online database to ensure there is transparency on the funding of parties. Most democratic countries ban donations from corporations, foreign interests, or they may require shareholder approval for company donations. But Malaysia and Australia do not have such a ban. In Australia, political parties and independent candidates receive political funding for campaigning as per the Commonwealth Electoral Act 1918. The Australian Electoral Commission publishes the donations figures annually. While political donations are legal in Malaysia, the Election Offences Act 1954 regulates the maximum expenses allowed for candidates vying for parliamentary seats and for state seats during the campaign period. However, when it comes to funding of political parties, there is no limit and parties are not obliged to disclose the source of the funding, which makes political donations a vague subject but entirely legal in the country. However, in June 2018, the current Mahathir bin Mohamad government said it will table a new law on political funding in Parliament in order to curb corruption and lobbying. Meanwhile, in Singapore, the Political Donations Act is much stricter compared to other countries. This act basically serves to prohibit donations to political parties from anyone who is not defined as a permissible donor, such as foreigners. Anonymous donors are also tightly restricted. A donation is only considered anonymous if the recipient is unable to ascertain the identity of the donor. Money is a necessary evil for the functioning of political parties. There is no escaping that, but unregulated, undisclosed and opaque political funding can threaten the very fabric of democracy and governance. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in today's edition of In Depth. We'll be back same time tomorrow with a focus on some other subject. You can also watch our episodes online on YouTube and Twitter and get back to us with your feedback and suggestions. Thanks for your time.